FPL Game Week 32, transfer targets and chip strategy. It's been 19 days since the Game Week 31 deadline, and in that time we've had the Carabao Cup final, the international break, the FA Cup quarterfinals and some shocks, some Champions League results, and in that time we've also had the double Game Week 33 and blank Game Week 34 confirmed. So in today's video we'll be going through a look on what the rest of the season looks like from a fixture perspective, my recommended strategies based on the chips you have left, in which game weeks when to use them, and of course the vertverified watchlist, which is my top 5 for the next 5 across all the positions. I've also put together a Game Week 32 wildcard draft as well for anyone that has it active. So if you enjoyed the video and you're happy for the return of FPL, make sure you smash that like button and hit that subscribe. Let's get into it. What's up? It's FPL Vert, where arrows go green, and we'll discuss how my team did in what seems like a lifetime ago in Game Week 31 in my team selection video later this week. But today's video is about not only transfer targets in the Vert verified watch list, but also chip strategy, because we now have the double Game Week 33 confirmed, because Manchester City dismantled Liverpool 4-0. We saw Chelsea dismantle Port Vale 7-0. We saw Leeds progress past West Ham on penalties. And we also saw Arsenal crash out of the FA Cup quarter-final against Championship side Southampton. Very disappointing for Arsenal fans, and also very disappointing for people that wanted to do the bench boost in Game Week 33, in my opinion, because now the Game Week 33, as you can see in this graphic, which is from Legan Mane, definitely give him a follow. His at's on the bottom left. We now know that the doubles are going to be Manchester City with Arsenal at home and Burnley away, which is a bit meh. Chelsea going to have Manchester United and Brighton away, which is also a bit meh. Brighton's got Tottenham away and Chelsea at home, which is meh. Bournemouth have got Newcastle away and Leeds at home, which is meh. Leeds have got Wolves and Bournemouth, which is actually pretty decent. Probably the best double, if you ask me, but it's Leeds, a promoted side. And then there's Burnley, who are doubling, which I highly doubt anyone's going to have anyone from Burnley. Even Dubravka, I don't think will really get in, because Darlow seems to be playing for Leeds and they've got the best double in my opinion. So as you can tell by the graphic, those are the doubles. Not really feeling it, especially as if you have to do a wildcard 32, you pretty much have to sell, like, your Manchester United assets, your Liverpool assets. I know Liverpool just got smacked by City, but Liverpool do have pretty decent fixtures ish in the mid to long term, I guess, really. And yeah, it also means you have to sell Arsenal, and then when it gets to Game Week 35, I think Arsenal's fixtures are probably the best for the rest of the season outside of Leeds. So for me personally, I won't be wildcarding, but if you've got all your chips left, you haven't used your triple captain, you can do a variation of wildcard 32, bench boost 33, free hit 34, TC 30, that's triple captain 36. But the problem is, I don't think playing the free hit in Game Week 34 is that necessary now, because if you look at Game Week 34 on the graphic, I mean, if you've got Liverpool assets, they've got Palace at home. If you've got Arsenal assets, they've got Newcastle at home. If you've got West Ham, which you can load up on this week, they've got Everton at home, and United have got Brighton at home. I'm not really that enthused by any wildcard 32 draft I've seen or even put together myself. So if you've got all the chips, yeah, that's probably the most foolproof plan. But if you've still got all your chips and you want to maybe do your triple captain in a single game week, then you could just do the free hit 33, wildcard 35, bench boost 36, and then I don't know, maybe have a fun punt. You don't really need to plan for the triple captain chip, so that can go anywhere. If you haven't got a bench boost, if your team for this week, so that's Game Week 32, is okay, I would definitely do free hit 33, wildcard 35, triple captain 36. If your Game Week 32 11 is not okay, yeah, I would just put out the fire, activate the wildcard, and you can just skip ahead to see the wildcard draft I put together. If you haven't got a wildcard, that's difficult, but I would probably free hit in Game Week 33 if you've got a team that can survive the blank, which is not that difficult anymore. And if your team is good in Game Week 33, then I'll just free hit 34 really. And if you've got no free hit left, it's not really the end of the world really, but I will just look to basically dead end my team into Game Week 33 and then activate in Game Week 34. So just a round up, Manchester City, Chelsea, Brighton, Bournemouth, Leeds and Burnley are going to be doubling, but the doubles are not that enticing in my opinion. So I don't really see the appeal of wildcarding in Game Week 32, but that's me personally. No, I'm not being a flip-flop. I'm almost certain I'm not going to activate my wildcard, but we'll discuss my team going forward in my team selection. This is the chip strategy and transfer target video. So into the verified watch list, my top 5 for the next 5 across all the positions. And we can keep the goalkeepers quite brief because I do think it's quite clear now who the #1 goalkeeper in the league, especially as we've seen with Arsenal, what it's like when he's not in goal compared to when he is in goal. And when he is in goal, you know, I mean, he's about to scoop his 3rd successive Golden Glove in the Premier League. I saw a stat today that said over the past 2 Champions League seasons, he's faced 12 XG and prevented 9.58. So it's very clear he's the best goalkeeper in the Prem. He's at least a very contender for the best goalkeeper in the Champions League as well. I do think Courtois is probably better though. But in terms of the Premier League, yeah, are we saying that Verbruggen's better than Raya? No. Are we saying that Brighton's defense is better than Raya's? No. So I do have Raya at #1 despite the double. And if we're being totally honest, are we going to be surprised if even Burnley score talk less of Tottenham, you know, with their new De Zerbi in their relegation battle, and then Chelsea, who will fight for Champions League? No, I don't think they're keeping clean sheet. So if you are on the wildcard, then, you know, fair. It's not for me though. Especially not to invest in the likes of Brighton. That's not possible. And then the rest, yeah, they just make up the list. We do have a new budget goalkeeper though in Darlow because he's definitely better than Dubravka in terms of fixtures, and obviously he's cheap enough that you can just bench anyway. But definitely Raya #1. Into the verified defenders, and one of the reasons why I'm recording on Wednesday was because I wanted to see if Gabriel would start for Arsenal, because he did come off injured with a knock, but we didn't know how serious it would be in the FA Cup quarter-final against Southampton on Saturday. And Arteta did say ahead of the game that he was fit, but seeing is believing. And Gabriel did play 90 minutes, and I'm fully expecting him to start the remainder of the Premier League fixtures, at least until the Premier League is secured with the league title on the line, and they're very much in Arsenal's hands in the driving position. So yeah, I think that's easy. And then the rest of the defenders, I mean, this list is technically for the best defenders for the next 5. Your strategy may want you to look at different players. So for example, myself, I'll be free hitting in game week 33. So really I'm only looking at game week 32 and 34 because I'll be wildcarding in game week 35. So if you're like me, I wouldn't be buying a defender, that's for sure. But if you're building a wildcard, I guess these are the defenders I'd be picking, all 5 of these, because, you know, O'Reilly, you will want to have him in place before the double in game week 33. I assume if you're game week wildcarding in game week 32, you're going to free hit in game week 34. And it's the same for Van Heck, but I can't say that I'm, you know, really excited by these picks, if I have to be honest, brutally honest. I don't think a clean sheet at Burnley is completely guaranteed for Brighton. I mean, they've got okay data, but it's not elite like Arsenal's. And Senesi, I mean, you're bringing him in. I guess it's a wildcard, so it's not that it's not that deep if you're using a wildcard rather than free transfers. But Senesi, you're just not going to play him at the Emirates. I mean, Arsenal scored 3 goals at the Vitality, and now they're going to be hosting them when the Premier League's on the line. So, and then Strike is going away to Leeds. I mean, Leeds, they've been good. You know, they're technically not out of the woods yet in the relegation battle. I do expect them to stay up, but I do think a result at Old Trafford, 1 game a week Old Trafford, is a bit too much to ask. United are just going to be so fresh. So yeah, I do think Leeds have good double though, so I will be there on the free hit. But yeah, these are basically the defenders for the next 5. So it's essentially if you're going to wildcard now. But if you're like me and you want a free hit in game week 35, wildcard in 35, then you're only really looking at players in game week 32 and 34. So if you're using free transfers, do not buy a defender, is basically what I'll say. Into the midfielders, and just like the defenders with Gabriel, our #1 pick is someone that doesn't have a double game week 33, and that's Bruno Fernandes. But he is the best captain this week, and he's the best midfielder to own, in my opinion. So get to owning him if you don't already. And then the remaining 4, quite interesting. We do have Gordon, who doesn't have a double, but he plays in game week 34. Alas, it's Arsenal. But the other 3, they do have a double. So I think out of all of them, if it's not Bruno, I think it is Semenyo #1, because he just finds a way to score almost every game. He's been a revelation since joining City, so congratulations to him. With a lot of credit to him as well for making that jump from Bournemouth to City quite seamlessly. And then, you know, the others, I mean, Palmer is here because there really is nothing else. And I keep talking about the lack of options. I mean, Palmer should not be an option. He literally only stat pads penalties against relegation sides. Am I expecting him to do much against City, United, and even Brighton? Not really, but if you're wildcarding, I guess you kind of have to go there because there's nowhere else to really spend the money. So Yeah, Palmer's here. And then Minte is here because I've seen some people talk about Gross, but surely you go for the attacker. I don't know, maybe I'm still in the old era where, you know, goals and assists actually mean something rather than DEFCON. But yeah, these are the midfielders I would pick for the next 5 anyway. And last but not least, the forwards. And for the first time in a while, we actually have more forward options than midfield options, which is quite interesting. Haaland, you know, like anything in football, once you score a hat-trick, you're back, right? So he scored a hat-trick against Liverpool, so I guess we're expecting him to do something at Chelsea. I'll be surprised though, because he's not really a big game player like that, especially away from home for City, but let's see. Then it's Bowen, because I think Bowen is going totally under the radar. He not only does he have a fixture either side of the double, so he plays in the blank, but Wolves at home, very winnable fixture. Everton at home, I think that's very winnable as well, and I think he's just so central to everything that they do. Yes, he hasn't got the best underlying metrics. 0.33 is for sure the lowest on this list, but he just finds a way. He finds a way, and he also actually gets DEFCON sometimes as well. So I think all-round pick has to be Bowen. Next, I mean, propping Calvert-Lewin, it just feels wrong. But I mean, I would own him on a free hit, but would I want to own him for Manchester United away? I do not think so. And Pedro actually probably has more merit than Calvert-Lewin. It's just that it's City, and I think, you know, City will be a tougher game than United, in my opinion, anyway. But yeah, I mean, United at home, Brighton away for Chelsea. These fixtures are just not moving me at all. I'm so sorry. And then Welbeck, yeah, Burnley away is great, but not only is Tottenham away and Chelsea at home not good fixtures, but can we trust Welbeck to actually play both the games? Because obviously I'm not calling him a pensioner, but, you know, Father Time always comes around, and I'm not convinced he starts both games. So there's that little bit of doubt in the selection over and for the minutes. So I would say if you're not owning Haaland, it has to be Bowen. But I'm sure people would disagree with me on that if they have a wild card, because they want to go for the doubles, and that's totally fine as well. So I've put together a wildcard draft for Game Week 32, and as I mentioned before, I'm just not moved by it at all. I think maybe it's because my team is a little bit different to this team, but I mean, I already own Gabriel and Bruno and Haaland, and then the rest. I mean, Van Heck and Minter, I guess those are decent threats, but how many points are we really expecting them to score away at Burnley? I don't think it's a money fixture like that, personally. And then it's, you know, Calvert-Lewin, and then you've got 5 players in the same game. You got Palmer and Joao Pedro hosting City, and then you got O'Reilly, Semenyo, and Haaland going away to Chelsea. I mean, not that they're bad picks, but I'm just saying, like, do you really want 5 of your starting 11 and 2 of the premiums, like the 2 most expensive premiums, to be facing each other? I don't think so. There's so much at stake as well. I mean, Chelsea need the Champions League. They need to get in the top 5. Manchester City need to win to hopefully cut what will be a 12-point gap. It's probably going to be a low-scoring game. So unless it's 0-0 and there's only one defender in this iteration anyway, I just don't really see it. And then, nah, I'm sorry. So if you've got the wildcard active, you know, and you have, if you already got it active, you can't really change that. So this is what I'd go with. But for me, that's looking to make moves and looking ahead to the rest of the season, I just can't co-sign it. I'd go as far as to say that a wildcard 32 is not verified actually. So. But if you got the wildcard active, this is what I'll go with. So thanks for watching. I know it's been a while. I'm quite rusty putting this video together actually. But I'll speak again in the team selection video, and we'll discuss a bit more in detail what I'm planning to do with my team. So thanks for watching. Drop any comments you have, questions into the comments that you have, and I'll see you soon.